It's been a little while since I've worked on this, hasn't it? Hello, all the crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. Welcome back to Making Games. This is a tower defense game. It has been quite a week since I've worked on this. Last time I did a bunch of things with like enemy designs and that sort of thing. And today, I think it is going to be... Oh, I really need to implement some sort of like flocking behavior on those flies, don't I? Because they will layer on top of each other. Today I'm going to be doing more enemies. Alright, so it's been a couple weeks since I've done this because, to make a long story short, I have been procrastinating majorly on the designs of some of the next foes that I want to implement, and I still haven't done these last two. I have, like, basic, rudimentary, not very good 3D models for Centipedes, Scorpions, and Hornets, and I still haven't made up my mind what I want to do about the last two because those are probably going to be a little bit bigger, and I'm probably... gonna not like how they come out because I am not amazing at 3D modeling on the best of days. But one way or another, I will work that out. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to open up the old 3D model converter that I like to use. And I will go and convert the GameMaker model files from what they are now to just vertex buffer objects that I can toss into GameMaker and load in like one line of code. So if I'm gonna open up the bullet hell workspace folder, this is a bunch of vertex buffers. Where did I? Oh, it's in here. I'm going to need to, let's see, take care of the centipedes. I hate these. Like, I like to look up references for what I'm trying to design when I do this so that I'm not just completely going and making things blind. And I did not enjoy looking up references for centipedes. There's also scorpions, which honestly weren't a whole lot better. That's almost something that almost could be considered animation, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be that generous. There are two frames of Hornets. That's a little bit better. These guys only have two moving parts instead of me trying to figure out what all the legs are doing. But that's the Hornet. And let's see, what vertex format am I going to save this as? I'm going to need to position 3D, normal, and color. All right, so everything but the texture coordinate. And I can... So those are the right size, right? I don't have to like resize them or anything like that. Oh, that looks so weird. Like, all of them layered on top of each other is just, like, my least favorite thing in the whole entire world. Let's see. Where is the bullet hell folder? I have way too many things in this GameMaker folder. Yeah, I should probably start cleaning that out one of these days. Let's see. Data files, meshes, foes, and I can just stick all of the, yeah, vertex buffer objects. I can just stick all these in here. And that should just do it without complaint. And what do we have? We have the faux meshes. We have all these types of enemies, and I can say centipede head, because I am going to try and do the head and the body segments of centipede separately, because apparently I don't hate myself enough. Centipede hyphen head. And then we have centipede hyphen body. And then we also have, what were some of the other ones? Hornets. So those are like the angry or evil version of bees. And the last one was scorpion. Alright, hopefully that will just load. Hopefully I won't find any annoying, like, failed to load file messages. I'm just going to look up in the console real quick. We have some sort of draw failed due to invalid vertex layout. I'm going to have to deal with that later, but I don't see any annoying failed to load buffer messages, so I take it that I did not misspell anything. All right, so what do I got to do next? First, I got to commit some changes. Let's see, I'm going to, since GameMaker updated a couple times, I'm on one of the betas for GameMaker right now. I'm going to just like make this a single commit that's like updated GameMaker. So So if something ends up going wrong, I know what to blame. Usually do that, even if it's just like a single version number change, even if like the project file format doesn't change. So that's going to take a minute, and then I'm going to do another one that's just added a bunch of added some faux 3D models, if Git ever commits that last one. All right, sure, Git. I have all the time in the world. I guess you're living up to your name. Let's see. This is going to be added some faux 3D models. And that'll do it for now. Do I really have... Did I not push, like, the last 3 weeks, really? What on earth was I thinking? Anyway. So what I need to do next is I need to go into entities, faux types, and I need to start implementing new ones. So, let's see. What exactly did I have in mind? All right, who is trying to talk to me on Discord? Can I close this? Because that's really distracting. All right, someone is just sending me memes. I think that can wait. Let's see. I'm going to need to look at these cards and see exactly what I had in mind for some of these, because it's been a while since I've looked at these and I don't remember. Scorpions, arachnids, bugs, same thing. Let's see. Passive unless you get close, then shoot at you in short bursts. Okay. That's going to be a bit of a melee design, I think. And for Scorpion, I'm going to give you another programmer art, like, graphic, I guess. Wait a minute. Programmer art. Can I say SPR faux Scorpion and make you, like, I don't know, a purple or something like that? Or maybe like a tan yellow, because that's the color of your actual design. Let's see. Info Scorpion. You can have the Scorpion programmer art. And I believe you need a variable definition, which is going to be... Oh no, wait a minute. What is the... Okay, so the mesh animation frames are like set in the creative end. So you can have... GameMaker, I swear. It's been like a year and a half and I still haven't figured out what hotkey that is, and I hate it. Let's see. So the shoot method. This should do a little bit of a special code, I think. And this is going to determine whether or not the player is like close to you. So I'm going to say, let's define another variable definition. And we can make this player threshold or something like that. Oh, yes. Today's beta, or at least like the most recent beta. My favorite bug ever, you know, aside from the ones that are actually in the game, is that when you hit the tab key in the most recent beta, GameMaker will not automatically cycle your cursor to the next UI element, and that just drives me insane, because that is just how I navigate UI. Anyway, the default can be like, I guess, let's make it 120 pixel units from the player that the foe has to be before they shoot, and we can fine tune that later. If distance to object, did I call it obj player or just player with a capital? End player, all right. So if this is less than or equal to self dot player. Have I spelled threshold right? I don't know. I also don't care. If the player is closer than that value, then we will, let's say, repeat 10. And I may make this another instance variable as well, but we'll just, is there a direction to object? There is not. All right, we got to do this the boring way then. Point direction. And we can give this, this direction that we're aiming a random amount. I think there might already be a variable definition for like the shot spread that I can jump on for the shot spread in here. Anyway, our bullet is going to be equal to instance create depth x self dot y self dot depth plus 1 to make it appear slightly below us. Obj can be is it bullet? Yeah, it's just bullet. I don't think I want any of your subclasses, and since GameMaker now allows us to like define properties that would go into the create event of instances, like in the instance create function like this. How would I want to do that? I'll look at faux aim. That's a sprite. All right, that would be faux aphid then, and we have shot velocity, shot angle, x speed equals shot velocity times the cosine. All right. It's a little bit of basic math. Self.x speed, self.y speed, shot velocity. Can be that, and shot angle can be that. And that should allow us to create a handful of... Why is Feather complaining about this? Like, that is a... Yeah, that is a number. So I don't know why I can't multiply, like, a number and a... whatever. Anyway, let's, lastly, let's slap down a couple of these scorpion guys. In the... Oh, you know what? Oh, wait a minute. I can just do this, can't I? I don't have to, like, recreate the object. And that will allow me to keep at least some of the relevant instance variables as well as the, whatever else. Okay. Other settings. So, alright. Feather is actually making it harder for me to see what's going wrong here because the yellow line is just all in the way. Oh, that's because this is, like, taking it to struct. And it needs JSON notation and not GML notation. I'm not sure why it was telling me that error message. Okay, I already hate those. Perfect. Can I get rid of the grasshoppers, please? I feel like the grasshoppers are just, like, in the way when I'm trying to demo these guys. I was thinking that if I get through these 3 enemies quickly because I didn't do my homework and I didn't get the, like, the boss enemy designs done beforehand, I might, like, I don't know, work on some finer details like the appearance of the bullets or something like that, but it seems like, alright, oh, good gravy, okay. That is a lot of bullets, which is interesting, but I feel like that's gonna be lagging the game pretty hard and pretty quickly, so I'm gonna not... Well, one, I think shot velocity can be a little bit higher, so maybe let's make this like 150. And I would also like us to actually have a cooldown. Let's see, how does the cooldown work? Exactly. All right, so it's gonna look like this, and that's gonna happen at the end of the repeat loop. Okay. Okay, so that's actually a pretty low shot density, considering how, like, slowly you have the cooldown there. So first, let's repeat. Let's use that instance variable definition for the number of bullets that are spawned. Let us use the bullet spread. Actually, that would be 20, wouldn't it? The bullet spread property for the bullet spread. So negative bound of negative self.bullet spread over 2, positive bound of bullet spread over 2. Shots per second, this can definitely be like 2. So that would be on average up to 1 shot every half of a second if you get close enough. Wait a minute, why are you only firing 1? Alright, all the bullets are being spawned at the same, like... Oh my god. Why is this doing this? This is gonna be another one of those, like, immensely stupid code issues. Why is bullet spread equal to 0? It should be 20. Oh, up here. Why on earth was that being set up there? Why on earth is that being touched outside the variable definitions window? If that's going to be set to 0, it should be set in the variable definitions and nowhere else. And the same for the score value, really. What? I feel like this had to have been... I feel like that had to have been, like, a leftover bit of code from, like, the very beginning of development that I just forgot about. Alright, well... Not going to worry about that now. I will make score a variable definition later. In fact, I'm going to go and stick that on one of those backlog cards. That should be pretty easy to sort out. It's just going to be a little bit of like busy work, moving all of the variable definitions from the create event to the... Alright, there we go. I thought it wasn't shooting for a minute, but I think it might have just been obscured by the Scorpion's rather large body. Let's see. Am I taking health when I go into those things? Alright, I am taking damage when I run into those Scorpions. Might want to give them a slightly bigger hitbox because they are slightly bigger enemies, but... whatever. Okay. Oh my god, email. It's another thing I usually close before I sit down to do this. Right, so we've got aphids. I mean, we've already had aphids. We've got scorpions, which I sound far too happy about proclaiming, but they will now shoot at you. I feel like there should be some kind of like animation tail right before these things shoot at you, but if we're being real with ourselves, I'm not going to do animation for these, and I will, however, increase the player threshold, so maybe 192, say, if the player gets within that distance to you. They will shoot at you. That would be about here. All right. I don't want it to be too small because I want the player to have a like realistic chance of getting these things angry. Let's bump it up to 224. What would that be? 9 units of 32 by 32. So if I were to come to like, all right, I think that's okay. When I do level design, I can kind of try and do my best to crowd. Like crowd the scorpions towards the front so that the player can't ever just like sit back and hit them from afar. Like the one in back there is, but all right. We have scorpions, which you're gonna sound far too happy about. Why did GameMaker just like randomly decide to update some of the files now and not like when I actually did that commit? Yogi Games is making some modifications on the way that the IDE works behind the scenes recently. They switched it to .NET 6 a couple weeks ago, and since then there's been a number of strange and unusual IDE quirks that we've gotten to work around. Anyway, let's see. If I go back to content and polish, scorpions. Alright, centipedes, I want those to chase you down and have segments representing HP, which means that most likely I will be creating multiple objects per centipede. So I think I'm going to do that one last. Hornets. Alright, aggressive bullets home in on you. All right, I can do that. Info. Info Hornet, I can give these things a somewhat, like, angry... like, an angrier orange color scheme, because, again, that's kind of the colors that these things have. And... oh, that's the color of just, like, the default faux programmer object, isn't it? All right, let's make that redder. No, that's spiral. Let's make it like maroon, like dark red. All right. So Hornets, they can basically, I think, does the faux template just have a default shoot method? It does. All right. I might leave that alone, and I might just have it instantiate a special bullet type, which will like home in on you. All right, perhaps to my detriment, but let us generalize the default shoot method. Let us generalize this by having a... is there a default like bullet type? Not yet. So this can be an asset, and that can be game maker. Why can't I just drag and drop this onto the... it's very annoying. Anyway, that can be that. I'm going to stick this up at the top, like right up here. Or it's not going to allow me to. You just continue to make my life interesting, game maker. And then in the regular shoot method, we can fire an instance of the default bullet type. And if I were to just toss down a Hornet, and let's set your meshed animation frames to that Hornet, and let's go and set your type in the room editor to Hornet. We should now have just an enemy that shoots straight forward with a very like angry waspy bee looking model. Okay. Your aim isn't super good, but let's see. So I think your shot velocity can be a little higher, and I will have it, let's make your shot velocity like 320 or so, double what it is right now. I will have them tail in the direction of the player. I won't have them really be aggressively chasing you down, but I will have them, like, angling towards you. And, like, if you're standing over here, and the Hornets are on the left side of the screen, you should be safe before they go off screen. But if you're standing like here, they will probably try and angle towards you. So we'll see how that goes. First, and then I will need another bullet type. You know, most people, like, the longer they use a computer, the better their typing skills get, but I think I've reached the point where my typing skills are just, like, getting worse. Let's see, this is going to be a homing bullet. I'm going to make this orange so that I can tell it apart, and probably, I doubt that the final look of the bullets are going to be like this, but I would like to telegraph to the player in some way that these are bullets that you don't want to mess with. Let's see, your parent type can be just the regular bullet class, and let's see, we can inherited the step event. We can get rid of the create event because that's just going to be the default, and let's see, so I'm going to want a couple different direction values. One of them is going to be var, let's just call it dir, is going to be the direction that I'm moving in currently, so that's going to be point direction, self x, no, it's going to be 0, 0, self to x speed, Y speed. I'm not using the built-in movement variables. If you were, you could just use the direction variable, but I'm not using those. Direction to player is going to be, this is going to be self x, self y, and player.x, and player.y. And GameMaker gives us a handy function called angle difference. And I believe what this function does is it will return a positive angle if you're on one side and a negative angle on the other. Yeah, it's going to be between 180 and negative 180. A positive is going to be destination and then source, from the source angle towards the destination angle. If direction is counterclockwise relative to direction to player, then that's going to be a positive value. And if it's clockwise relative to the player, it's going to be a negative value. So what that means is that I can say, for example, direction plus equals the sine of the difference, and I can convert this back into x and y speed components. Like this. I need this to be the cosine. And that should have the bullets that the Hornets shoot trail in your general direction. Alright, did I get it backwards? I may have gotten it backwards. I don't remember if I said it that way or if I said it the other way around when I described it earlier. I feel like they are trailing towards me. If I reduce your shot velocity, it'll be easier to see. Your shot velocity. Oh, you know what I think I'm not doing? You know what I think I'm not doing is that I'm totally not actually shooting the homing bullet type. Okay. And once again, we can't drag and drop that into the variable definitions window. Could have saved me 5 minutes. All right, now they're chasing me down. All right, that's what we want. We can make you shoot faster once again because we don't want them to trail that quickly. Wow, they are really they're not letting up. They do fly off the screen eventually, but I feel like you could probably get them to chase you in circles infinitely if you were really either skilled or really unlucky, depending on how you look at it. I actually like that. In my head, I saw them chasing you down a little bit more gently. Like I did say that if you were standing over here, they shouldn't get to you quite that quickly. But I can honestly probably see uses for that. So first, let's make the homing amount. Let's make the tab key. Let's make this 45. So this is going to be degrees per second. Self.homing speed times was it? I can never remember if I call it in games DT or GDT. GDT being like in-game delta time, not accounting for menus and stuff. Although I guess in this game that's handled up here, so you don't have to multiply everything by 0. But the homing speed is going to be that. Oh, it's homing amount, is it? And let's see how that looks. So if I were to stand over here, all right, the upper one can reach me from over here, but the one that's on the bottom, your bullets will still fly off the screen, which is probably a good thing. Let's see. Just gonna take those hits. Yeah. Oh, of course, it's also dependent on the spread, like the random number that happens to be rolled for the bullet spread. Okay, so those are homing bullets. I think I'm okay with that. I feel like I would like you to fire more slowly, so we can make this like 0.3 shots per second, but we can make the... I don't know, maybe I'll make the bullets bigger or something like that. Yeah, I might do something like that. So anyway, you're going to shoot a little more slowly now. Let's leave it 1 every 3 seconds instead of 1 every other second. All right. We'll go with that. And lastly, the Centipedes, which is probably my least favorite real-life creepy crawly in this entire thing. I guess centipedes aren't technically insects either. They're, I don't know what they are, but I hate them. Because they have way too many legs, they move way too fast, and they will bite you. And they will hurt. But anyway, I'm going to need actually 2 objects for centipedes. And I'm going to need 1 for the head, which is going to be like the main, like the mission control thing. So let's just say entfo centipede. Don't really care which one I clone because I think I'm going to be like ripping out most of it and replacing it with something else. Let's give you a programmer art. So you can be, let's make you a dark purple or so. Sprite. Model. Oh, I'm going to need to specify head, aren't I? That was what I called it, right? Because I didn't see it light up purple instantly. Okay, it's just not... syntax coloring is taking a while to catch up in the game controller's create event as well. So you can do a couple things. One is that you'll have an empty shoot method. These things will not shoot, they will simply chase you down. And another thing is, let's see, are there any methods that determine, like, movement here? There are not. Okay. Let's see, I feel like when these things enter the screen, I want them to not have, like, a path transition in. I want them to just run in from the top. And that's going to be sufficiently horrifying, I think. But most importantly, it's going to... That's a sprite. It's going to have them starting out, running on a straight path, and then they will behave in a similar way to the homing bullets. They will, like, run circles in your general direction, except that if they go off screen, they won't despawn. They will just circle around to come get you from behind. So try not to let that happen. Or something to that effect. We'll see if I actually think that looks good by the time we get there. Any variables that will be relevant to the room editor? No. Variables that will be relevant to here. We can edit your path of entry and set that to no path, and that should cause you to just like ignore that and just like run forward, right? If I were to go and inherit your step event and tell you to run forward. Let me think about how this is going to work. So we're going to... I might give you a cooldown. Or I guess I can say... Self.can track player is false, and then when you do something like... we can now just say call later. For a period of, say, 1 second, you get 1 second where the thing is just going to run forward. The units can be time, source, units, seconds. The callback can be self.can can track player is going to be set to true, so we will just be able to track the player after that amount of time. Why is this yellow? Invo Game Maker, why are you feather? If you're going to show, okay, there we go. Return value of a pure function is not being used. That is actually inaccurate because call later is not a pure function. Pure functions would be something like the math functions, which do not change the game's state but just return a value. And Feather is telling me that if you're calling this and it doesn't, and nothing happens to the return value, then there's no point in calling it. But again, that is not true because call later does in fact edit the game state. I feel like I should submit a little note to the help desk informing Mr. Zach Reedy that call later is not documented correctly internally. Anyway, we will also... Alright, we have movement speed. So we can just assign self.x speed equals 0, self.y speed equals movement speed. And that is going to cause the things to just scuttle forward. You know what? Like the regular faux template objects don't have an x speed or a y speed. So I'm gonna have to implement that myself. Alright. Self.x plus equals dt times self.x speed, self.y plus equals dt times self.y speed. And this should cause them to scuttle forward. I hope. I was wrong the first two times. I don't see you. Self.active. Why is self.active equal to false? Oh, that was because, okay, so I was going to say that looks dumb, but there was actually a reason for that. That being that self.active is ordinarily used so that the enemies don't do anything until they have finished transitioning in on their path, but centipedes don't need that. Because centipedes are not really supposed to use the path. Alright. It wasn't animating. And if anything, that just made it look creepier. I was thinking, did the second frame of animation fail to load in? But no, that's another effect of overriding the default step event. So that is going to be a matter of I'm going to need to manually update the animation because the game isn't being set to do it for me because I'm not running that code. I hate that. I actually might edit that later on my own to make the antenna pincer thingies. Don't care what they are. Don't tell me to make them a little bit less long because that looks just horrifying. Anyway, next we're gonna have these home in on the player, which again is gonna be nothing short of mortifying. I will set the homing amount on these guys to something a little bit lower. Maybe let's say 20 degrees per second instead of 45. And the homing code is going to be this. And this should probably go before I update the position. And I think I can get rid of this now. So the aphids will just make a beeline straight for the player, but things like the well, these centipedes for one, as well as the oh god, what are the other things? The homing bullets. They will just sort of veer in the direction of the player instead of going straight for you. So, boy, that is so distracting right now. I would also like, by the way, in the draw event, We can rotate our models around the z-axis based on the image angle, and generally that's going to be 0 for most things. But for our case, image angle is going to be direction, and that should make the things turn towards me, which I absolutely am going to hate. But all right, am I going to want... All right, you know what? Maybe workspaces are at least a little bit of a pain, but image angle plus 90. Because everything in the game is like, the 3D models are like originated pointing down on the y-axis, and 0 degrees is like horizontal on the x-axis, pointing right on the x-axis. Let's see. All right, so centipede heads are going to home in on you, which I hate. That's part of the commit messages. And next, as if that wasn't bad enough, I would like centipede segments. I'm going to rename the former centipede head. And the centipede segments aren't going to do much. Let's see. So first, I will set a variable definition for segment count, and this can be, let's say, this can default to like 8, like that. And in the create event, I guess I could also make a variable for segment spacing, but I don't ever foresee any need of having segments spaced out differently. Whereas like later in the game, more difficult levels might have longer centipede segments. Var segment spacing can be, let's make this 16, so that's about a half a tile. If you're thinking in game maker spaces, game maker terms, for var I equals 0, I is less than self dot segment count I plus plus. We are going to basically be creating a linked list, so we are basically going to be creating like a DS list. I mean a DS queue, and to do that, do I want to keep track of the last segment? Not really. I don't think I'll need that. Self.next segment is going to be equal to... actually, hang on. Segment equals instance create depth. They'll all start off like pointing downwards, so this is going to be self.x, self.y minus segment spacing. Depth is going to be self.depth. Object is going to be ent_fo centipede segment. And let's see, the structure of information is going to be self.spacing. It's going to be segment spacing. Oh, all right, once again, that needs to be a colon there. We'll also keep track of the segment index. Index can be, this can be I plus 1, because the head is going to be index 0. I guess I can... make that explicit as well. Let's see, we're going to need to keep track of the, the parent node. Parent segment can be self.id. And we're going to want to keep track of the next segment, which can be for now undefined. Although that's a little bit like not important, because you would set that in the create event for the segment object anyway. And you know what? I will keep track of the tail. Self.tail segment can be self.id. And let's see, to create the linked list, so to construct the linked list, self.tail segment equals segment. Self.tail segments dot next segment equals segment, and then self.tail segment equals segment. Okay, so we have now basically created a linked list of of centipede segments. I'm also going to want to keep track of my previous position, my previous X and Y position, so self that I think actually that is automatically managed by GameMaker. I guess I could leave that up to the built-in system, X previous and Y previous. We're going to be using that when it comes to repositioning each segment, each frame. Let's see. So I will define these variables. Actually, no, I can't do that in the create event for a centipede segment, can I? Because setting variables in the create event would override whatever gets passed in by the constructor function. Let's see. I think it's safe to say that I don't need most of this though. Like we can leave the shoot method empty because the centipedes won't be shooting. But all right, I guess we'll leave it at that. I will also have absolutely nothing in the step event. And I will update, like have an update method to like reposition these centipede segments manually. Oh wait, you know what? Instead of having the segment count, we have health max, which is effectively going to be just that. All right, so. Oh no. Oh yeah, alright. We can make that 10. I thought I deleted the variable itself for a moment, which would have been annoying. So we can loop over a health max if we have a centipede with like 20 HP for whatever reason. It's going to have 20 segments. That's going to be raising some questions. I'm also going to want that to be -1 because our head is going to be effectively the first segment here. Let's see. In the step event here, actually, I'm gonna want to like iterate over this with like a while loop. So while segment is not equal to undefined, we can update the position segment. It's gonna be segment.next segment. You can say var current segment is going to be equal to self.id. Segment.x is going to be equal to current segment.x previous. Segment.y is going to be current segment.y previous. Current segment is going to be equal to segment. I guess for consistency's sake, next segment, like this, and we're just gonna keep updating positions like this until we reach the end of the linked list. All right, so this is either gonna work on the first try or it's gonna crash. There's gonna be no in between. Okay, I did not update all those variable names. I wonder how much time I would save with errors like these. Oh, good gravy. That's awful. Okay. So we won't just be able to use X previous and Y previous. I'm going to need to actually remember the spacing. Because I did save the spacing variable there. Okay. In that case, next segment.x can be equal to... There are some who might like do an entire like rope simulation for relay integration to solve this, but I really don't need any rope physics on these centipedes, and in any case, that would be just like the most nightmare fuel thing I've ever written in code. How about instead of saying this current segment X previous, current segment Y previous, we can say var segment backwards direction is going to be point direction from the previous X previous Y, or no, it's going to be current segment.x, current segment.y, current segment.x previous current segment dot y previous, and then you can do this the fun way. Next segment dot x is going to be equal to current segment dot x plus next segment dot spacing times the cosine of segment's backwards direction, and we could do the same thing for y. I guess each segment doesn't need to keep track of its own spacing, just the head does. Alright, let's see if this looks any better. Okay, aside from the fact that the last two are totally spazzing out, and I don't know why, that is sort of what I was expecting to happen. Why are the last two being like that? Alright, that took far longer than it should have, and I honestly lost track of the changes that I made. But it seems to work now. So instead of messing around with x previous, y previous, and all that, we are just messing around with just the position of our node and the position of the current node and the position of the next node, and just updating everything in turn. And I'm also going to want next.image angle equals the direction that we're facing, and that should cause the segments to turn in the direction. Okay. Wow, that took me an hour. Anyway, so now they're not dancing around. Ugh. Gonna throw my computer out the window and become a poet after this, I swear. I can get rid of that because I tried doing some debug draw on each of the Centipede segments. Did not work, I might add. Probably because of the depth shenanigans in 3D and whatever. Is there anything else I wanted to change? Oh, I also want to... what's the inherited event? Show parent event. No? I mean, okay then. I guess that's the super inherited event. Now they'll at least move the legs. Alright. I'm gonna slow that down a little, because I don't really want to see those legs moving that way. And one more thing. And there might be a little bit more that I do with this later, but I really wanna put this game down and go outside and do something that doesn't involve the computer for a while. Centipede segment should have a damage method, and that should, instead of damaging itself, damage the head. Where is the faux template on damage? So the segment is going to, instead of doing anything to ourselves, self.head.onDamage, it's just going to redirect the damage to the head, because the head is what actually tracks the HP. And then in the heads, I guess the die method. I really hope I didn't just accidentally rearrange the asset hierarchy. Instance destroy. Okay, so I can just go to heads, or the cleanup method, the cleanup event, and then while I can just iterate over the whole structure, and then instance destroy And that should get rid of all the segments when the head is destroyed. Except for the last one, apparently. I can still say next equals next dot next. That sounds awful. I can still say next equals next dot next in the... Alright, there we go. In the line of code after the destroy call, because the instance won't actually be destroyed until the next, like, the next frame, the next step. But, alright. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to toss you into the completed pile for now. I'm going to toss Hornet into the completed pile for now. I guess we'll also finish Centipedes. I'm going to put in the backlog. Let's create a task. I'll give that an estimated cost of 10. There was an error creating my task. Is that because I hit Control S instead of Control Enter or whatever I meant to hit? It might have been. Alright, next time, gonna do the bosses. Then I'm gonna be done with faux design. Then we'll be on to fun things like level design. This is what Sprint 3 looks like now. And this is what the project as a whole looks like now. I know there has been a bit of a delay in getting this out. Hopefully next week things will be back on track. Hopefully after that I won't have to deal with 3D modeling anymore and I won't be procrastinating. My voice needs a rest today. I will cut the outro as short as I can. I hope you all enjoyed that and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Army Armbuster, DJ Gibbles, Edward Holt, Game Maker, Keyexy, Sindra Larson, Squarecrow, and Zenjamin for supporting these videos. If you want to see your name in the credits or hear yourself shouted out at the end like this, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.